I was just browsing social media there, and I came across a video, and it was someone in the gym, and they were doing Bulgarian split squats, and then it would edit onto them doing a squat on a Smith machine and then a bench press, but it had that American accent over the top, and it's like, you gotta do this, man. You gotta work hard. You can't listen to people, man. You gotta own this. And you've got the piano-led music in the background, and it's all very emotional. And the struggle is real. However, let's be honest, and guys in the burpee community can vouch for this in particular, or the high rep calisthenics community. Weights is easy. Lifting and weights is easy. A set lasts 30, 40 seconds at most, then it finishes, you go to failure, and then you get a long rest, and then you begin the process. And that's why weights is popular to a certain degree, because it's got a low barrier for entry. Anybody can start lifting weights. You don't have to have a lot inside there to start the whole weights game. People who are dumb tend to do well in the weights game because they don't question shit. But weights is a very simple process, so people gravitate towards it. However, they need to make it look more fucking difficult than it is. They need to make it look as if they are going through some epic struggle where they are fighting demons and they are fighting against some higher power which is designed to crush their very soul, and they can only fight back via the medium of doing a Bulgarian split squat. Ultimately, it's just narcissistic as fuck, in my humble opinion. It's almost like there's a certain generation who just constantly demand attention, and the manifestation of this is now performed through social media, where people just fucking do really, really, really boring stuff like moving a weight from A to B and try and turn it into Citizen Kane. And it's fucked up, but there is a way to make weights exciting. There's a way to make training exciting. And I, in particular, draw inspiration from Jared Miller. Jared Miller is one of my biggest inspirations in the weights game because he is a true original thinker. He doesn't really follow the pack. He doesn't subscribe to a certain training practice. He thinks for himself and he creates some genius ideas. Now, I want to expand on something that came up in a conversation I recently had with Jared, and it was about his impending book, The Chaos is the Plan. And we did a podcast at the weekend, and it was great because the thing with Jared is that when you speak to Jared and when you're doing the podcast, you're trying to ask questions. So you're listening to what the guest is saying, but you're trying to keep a question in your head to kind of keep the conversation flowing in a certain manner. So you don't really absorb the podcast experience in that respect. And it's not until you go away and listen to it again that you think, Jesus, fuck, that was amazing. He said some pretty deep shit there. Like, that was awesome. And that's what you always get with Jared. Now, I don't want to go in too much into what Jared said because the podcast comes out this weekend. However, Jared creates the training adventure. So what is a training adventure? A training adventure to me is something that's a bit left field, but it's something that you have to throw yourself into with wild abandon. Now, do not mistake that for micromanagement. Jared is not about micromanagement. If anything, he is anti-micromanagement. But he devises strategies to ensure that you are on the right path and you are going to elicit gains by performing certain protocols which are going to ensure that you don't take your eyes off the ball, so to speak. And what do I mean by that? Number one, Jared's workouts are extremely punishing. They are so punishing. They're a journey, the workouts themselves. Jared is at the point where he can't go into a gym and do a conventional bodybuilding style workout, for example. He couldn't go in and do 3 sets of 10 on the bench press and then 3 sets of shoulder press. Jared has to punish himself because he has created that persona to a certain degree. He has created that training style which works for him, and there is lore attached to his training style. So for example, if you watch a Jared Miller training session, he'll start off with 20 rep squats, then he might launch into a every minute on the minute for 10 minutes with kettlebells, heavy weights, then he'll do a burpee session. But it's almost like it's to symbolise something that's happening in a story he has written. So for example, a Viking raid, you're sailing across the choppy waters, you then come across land and you pillage a village. Jared will take that idea and turn it into workout form. It becomes an adventure. The workout becomes an adventure, and it's a fucking genius concept. Doing the weights is like getting a plane to Spain from Glasgow. You jump in the plane and you might experience a bit of turbulence. You might get sick on the plane, but you get to your destination and you enjoy yourself. And that's the weights. However, Jared's training style is like getting on a longboat from Norway and traversing the North Sea, where the waters are incredibly choppy. They are insane. Water is everywhere. Then you reach land where you have got to fight an enemy. And that's what Jared has managed to take weights and turn it into a fucking pillaging session performed by Vikings. And that is the training adventure. Now, when you also factor in the nutritional concept, Jared has got some wacky ideas. However, they bear fruit, and you see that by his physique, for example. Jared had issues with food in the sense that he was constantly consuming it, and now he's found a system which works really well for him. However, it is part of the adventure. He ties it in with the lore which encapsulate his workouts. It is the training adventure in that respect. So that is something you guys need to keep in mind when you embark on your training journey. Now, you can master the basics, you can master the foundations, but at some point you're going to have to go on the adventure. You're going to have to throw yourself into some crazy fucking shit, but it's a wild ride. If you do not do this, then you are going to be stuck in a static training style, which takes a certain mindset, takes a certain personality type to stick to. Because let's be honest, most people who begin this shit, they fall off. They always fall off at some point because it is fucking boring. It's absolutely boring. Lifting weights is boring. Doing burpees is boring. But some people can stick to it. However, some people need to make it work for themselves. And in that respect, the training adventure is something that people need to look into. How do they make training fun? They turn it into a fucking adventure. You need to create your training adventure. You need to just think outside the box. You need to make the workouts punishing and put the body through the ringer. You need to throw yourself into a diet which is going to have amazing results, but is going to challenge you in some respects. However, adventures are not meant to be easy. They're meant to be challenging, and that way you're going to come out the other side a better person for it, both physically and mentally. So hopefully this weekend the podcast with Jared is released. Hopefully you guys give it a good fucking listen because it is awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Anyway guys, just a slight ramble. Sitting in the house myself, waiting for the football to come on. Thought I would just get some of my thoughts out there. Thank you for staying strong and thank you for staying conditioned.